Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an entrepreneur and an author from Vancouver, Canada, Mr. Hussein Hallak. Hussein, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Ashutosh.
Hussein is an entrepreneur and he's an author of a book titled The Dark Art of Life Mastery. He's the founder and CEO of Next Decentrum. So, Hussein, before we talk about your book, tell me a little bit about your early life in Syria and how did it shape your perspective on risk, resilience, and reinvention?
Thank you for the question. Yes, in Syria, you grew up. I grew up for a family where the early days was really fun. They were having parties all the time
Yeah.
because they were employees, but they had enough money. But then these circumstances changed, and we had sanctions,
Mhm.
and that money was not enough anymore.
Mhm.
So I experienced a difference, and that led me to wanting to be something different and wanting to pursue certain things. I wanted to be an artist and a writer, but in Syria, you have to be either an engineer or a doctor or nothing.
Mm.
I think that's Eastern cultures in general. So that shaped me. It's my love for science, my adoration for technology, and the combination. I had to pick up writing and poetry as part of actually being part of the in group.
Mm.
Today, people are about different things, but in my time, it was like who wrote the best poetry between me and my cousin. That's how we
Wow.
who played chess the best. So these things kind of shaped a large part of who I am.
Mhm.
And I've always seen arts and music and writing as the pinnacle of who you can be as a human being and
Mm.
someone who's participating in the world. And of course, the world is different today.
Yeah, yeah, very interesting. You worked with artists, founders, and innovators. What common struggles do they share?
Mm. I think discovery is the key thing. Most of them they work with in the field of uncertainty. Nothing is for certain. You can be the greatest artist in the world, and your next painting can change completely your career.
Mm.
As an entrepreneur, you're always building something in a place where you don't know if the customer is going to like it or don't. Different than a big company who has a market who can talk to their customers.
Mhm.
You don't know if you can find even customers. You
Mm.
sometimes start with an idea and you want to discover. And innovators the same. You're trying to solve a problem, and you're trying to solve it in such a way that also people will use it, because if nobody uses your innovation,
Yeah.
you don't get it. So I guess it's the connection between the person and the people receiving the work is very direct and very visceral and has to be meaningful and add value
Mm.
and great conversation as well.
Amazing. When I was reading about you, I was fascinated to see that you say control is a lie. Help me understand this, and what does that mean in your own
Uh,
personal journey? Give me an example also, if possible.
yeah. Let's say I mean when I landed here in Vancouver is a great example. I had 20 years of experience. I
Hmm.
built By that time I had built 19 companies, worked with some of the largest brands in the world, some of the best marketing companies, best branding companies, all from North America.
Hmm.
So I thought I'd land in Vancouver and the market will receive me with open arms,
Hmm.
because I had everything. I had checked all the boxes. I had the biggest CV I can have.
Hmm.
So, but after 6 months and after 200 applications and one interview, I realized the market didn't accept me. So I thought I built enough power and influence to control the direction of my life. Like all I have to do is point at the company that I want to work with,
Hmm.
and they would run for me. That's what I thought. Because if
Yeah.
I was a CEO and I had somebody like me, I would definitely hire me.
Yeah.
But nobody cared.
Hmm.
So I thought I had control of my journey, but I
Hmm.
didn't. And so the direction I had to do is I had to let go of that control and I had to work with what I have. And what I had is uncertain. I didn't, so I started to learn the market. When you leave control or the illusion of control, because the control was in my head, I was landing in a new market, I had no control. So I dealt with reality as is. And reality was that people didn't know me, I didn't have a community. So I started building that. And that completely changed everything.
Absolutely.
So that's why I say control is an illusion, because it's in our head. We construct it in our head that we control the world. The world is, I mean, things that are we take for granted today will probably change tomorrow, as we see from today's world.
Great response. Thank you. You also built over 20 startups and helped raise billions of dollars. Tell me a little bit about what you've done and what has kept you going despite setbacks.
I discovered building companies actually by coincidence. My first tech company was built in Syria and was acquired by the Disney of the Middle East, Spacetoon. And when I was part of that acquisition, after 3 months, the VP left, and he was the architect of the internal strategy. So nobody knew what to do with me, but they knew they liked some of my talent, which is preparing presentation, writing, strategic thinking. So every new team that is starting a company will invite me. I will help them start that company. So internally in Spacetoon, I started 10 companies, and I liked it. I liked the idea. I had no idea this is called entrepreneurship, by the way. I just knew that I liked it. After I'd done it for a while, I was searching online because remember, it was the early 2000s and the internet was new. It was like, oh, this is called being an entrepreneur. So I liked it. I continued it. So that's kind of how I got on along the way. And what happens is I bump into someone or I see an opportunity or a problem, and I go ahead and start building. That's the kind of, I don't say, for example, well, I have this company or I'm doing this. If I see opportunity, I will jump right onto it. And that's what led me to starting all these companies. What kept me going is, I think, my desire for discovery. Somebody called it like, like being on an adventure. I never looked at life as, like I do something and that's it. Like we learn to grow up, you get married, you have a house, you get a career, and that's it. You enjoy life. I never thought about it like that. I thought of the adventure as the enjoyment. What else can I do? What new things can I explore? So I've always looked at it like that. And I'm fascinated with how people do things. So working with people always drives me forward. So as long as there are great people working, I will be pulled into it.
Fascinating. One more question before I move to your book. How has failure influenced your outlook on success and mastery?
Ooh, I succeeded a lot when my first companies. So like the first tech company was acquired by the biggest company. So I didn't experience failure at the very early beginning. So when first big failure came around 2006 was really destructive. Like because when I was succeeding, I didn't know why I was succeeding. So that failure, the first failure caused me to learn more because I had to find out why I failed and how I can never feel that like that again. But what I discovered is that failure is part of the process. We don't learn that as we grow because all of our lives, my life is certainly about success. My mom would never accept for me to be anything other than the first or to get the perfect marks. So that's how I learned that failure is part of the process and I integrated it. And that led me to teach other entrepreneurs how to do that and how to accept failure as a learning experience to build something better and build more.
Wow. But then let's now move to your book, The Dark Art of Life Mastery. And I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Hussein Hallak's book, The Dark Art of Life Mastery. Tell me, what is the hypothesis when you wrote your book, and why did you call it The Dark Art of Life Mastery?
The hypothesis is that life is the only constant in life is uncertainty. After living 3 decades, working across several companies, experiencing different communities, moving across cities, I realized that the more we're comfortable with uncertainty, the better we are adjusted with life. That is true life mastery. Is first understanding what life is, so that's certainty. uncertainty, sorry, and then letting go of our desire to achieve certainty and understanding the true power that we have. The true power
Right.
that we have is the power to choose.
Mm.
And because you said artists, entrepreneurs, and innovators, because it's uncertain, you never know what you're gonna get. So that's the dark art. You can't. It's like an art, but it's also you're like shooting in the dark kind of. And I liked the dark art is more like rather than, let's say, everything is clear, you kind of put things together and then it can blow up in your face. So it's uncertainty plus choice plus the desire to experiment, and that's the hypothesis, and that's what I wanted to teach people and give them an opportunity to think about it so that they can live a better life.
Fascinating. What illusions do people live under, and how can they confront their illusions?
Oh, that's great. I would say control is one of the biggest illusions. We think we control our lives, we control nothing. So that's the biggest delusion. The certainty, believing that tomorrow will be like today, is another illusion. We want it. I'm not saying it's bad to have certainty. I'm saying that it's unrealistic, especially in today's world as things accelerate. And I think the only thing we have power over is choice. Most people think that by postponing choice or by thinking themselves as like, oh, I'm going to take time to make a choice. Like they wait how to choose their career. They take a long time. My son was. I want to choose. He's thinking about his career and he's taking it. I said, you know what? Just make a choice, and the next moment you can make a different choice, and the next moment you can make a different choice. And that is what also one of the illusions that we think if we make a choice, we're stuck into it. You can undo that choice with the next moment, the choice. And the choice can only happen in the current moment, cannot happen in the past or the future.
Very interesting. And how do you define fearless living in real everyday terms?
Being anchored in reality. So realizing that this is the reality that you're in, because most of fear is in our heads. I'm not saying there's nothing to fear. The world is filled with kind of things that I don't want to happen. But when you are anchored in reality, the first thing that you do is you see things for what they are. And usually we make them up in our heads to be worse. I'll give you an example. Let's say there's an emergency. If you start being in your head and saying, oh, this person's hurt, they're going to die or something, you don't act, you're paralyzed. But when you start acting, you can actually maybe save someone's life or help them. So you anchor yourself in reality, you make choices, and you're present to the moment. That is one of the key things that you can do.
That's amazing. What strategies do you suggest for second guessing ourselves less?
I would say take it easy on yourself. You're gonna make mistakes. The reason why we think about this like second guessing is because we want to get things right, and we forget the way to get things right is to get things wrong. What I mean by that, if you play basketball, you play football, play cricket. I'm not too familiar with cricket, but if you play, you have to be willing to hit the ball or throw it and make a mistake in order to learn to do it right. But we hold ourselves and no, I'm not going to do it unless I'm sure. I'm not going to take a shot in life unless I'm sure I'm going to succeed, and that prevents us from the joy of adventure, from learning really fast. To learn really fast, just try again, but try on a small scale. Correct. Don't make a decision right now and hook yourself up to a mortgage, let's say 20 years before you're ready. Try with small things, test at small scale, and see where do you like, where do your joy come in. I picked up the guitar. I wanted to learn the guitar, and I started learning, and I liked it. I picked up other instruments. I picked up like the keyboard and stuff, and I didn't like it, so I continued with the guitar. So a little bit, I didn't have to commit for it for 5-10 years to learn. That's what took me to become professional or good with the guitar. But the first, let's say, few hours or few days, I got a sense of, do I like this or do I not? So make it simple, take a decision, and move a few steps forward, and then change your mind if you don't want to.
Amazing. You also write that life doesn't slow down because we want it to. How can we catch our breath?
Yeah, life will continue. Life has a mind of its own. Let's put it that way. I think we have to make a choice about who we are and who do we want to become.
Mm.
A lot of times we pursue life like we say right now, oh AI, it's taking over the world. I have to do this, I have to do that. We make up these things. You don't have to. If you look at today's world, the people on top of the world are
Mm.
not necessarily the people in AI. For example, like what's her name? Taylor Swift is $1 billion business. Every concert of hers is $1 billion business,
Mm.
and she's a musician. She plays the guitar.
Yeah.
Trevor Kelsey, I think I'm
Mhm.
butchering his name. Her. He's a football player. So you can be the greatest at
Yeah.
one thing. You just have to love it and pursue it. The world has opened up all of these opportunities.
Mm.
You just have to catch your breath and internalize and
Mm.
see what is my choice about myself,
Mm.
and then bring those choices to the world and try them out and
Yeah.
check with yourself every once in a while what matters to you most.
Mm. Great response. Hussein, your book also speaks of embracing true purpose. How
Mm.
does one discover one's purpose?
This is going to be controversial. I think you should choose your purpose, not discover your
Hmm.
purpose. I mean, there's all kind of things, but discovery takes you don't control discovery. You
Yeah.
can actually try and work yourself and maybe discover nothing. But
Mm.
choice is a source of power. So I
Mm.
can choose, for example, when I first started, my choice was to become a musician. My purpose is to become musician. Before that, I chose to be a doctor and
Mm.
save people. And I wanted to build a hospital and help them. And as I grew, as I became a different person, I had different thing. Who I am changed and became this new person in that moment. And I had different choices to make. And I made those choices. And
Mm.
that's how my life shaped up to be my life.
Mm.
Your life will shape up to be your life through
Correct.
your choices, through
Correct.
taking those steps,
Mm.
making those choices, and then making other choices and becoming the person that you are. As
Mm.
you The only purpose of life is for you to become fully yourself
Mm.
and to discover yourself. That is probably the biggest discovery you can make about life for you, not for other people. They might not care about that, but
Mm.
what they would care is like you've discovered another continent or something. But for you, if you helped everyone else but you didn't discover you didn't know yourself, you didn't
Mm.
discover yourself and kind of go on this journey and see how yourself becoming, I think you would lose a lot. So I think
Mm.
taking some time to internalize and see who are we becoming, who are we being, and where are we going is a very powerful thing that we can do for ourselves.
Fascinating. What's the difference between chasing success and living with purpose?
Mm. Chasing success is a great thing if you know what that success is to you. Most of the time, and most of the people that I don't want to generalize, but
Yeah.
most of the people chase an idea of success that is not theirs. So let's say the 20-year-old you, would they say what you have today is success? I would doubt that, because for them, success meant something different. They looked at somebody else. Maybe they thought, oh, success meant, I definitely I thought success means having a Mercedes SLS. It has to be red.
Mm.
Success meant I climbed Mount Everest. I didn't do any of those things. So definition, it's great to pursue success, but just be careful that the definitions are yours. It's your success that you're going after.
Mm.
Purpose, on the other hand, is internally fulfilling. Success you can show to others.
Mm.
Purpose is something that only you can feel. Somebody else, like if I say my purpose is to become a writer and to write the greatest story in the world, a
Mm.
lot of my friends were like, yeah, whatever. I mean, like when I played guitar, nobody cared until I played really good. So I think purpose is something that is internally for you, and maybe it's something you have ultimate choice over. Success is what others appreciate. It's
Mm.
always measured with money, things,
Yeah.
stuff,
Very well said.
accolades.
Yeah. That's a great explanation of the two phrases. You write about confronting chaos. What is one example from your own life?
Ooh, I would say even right now, like the world in the last 7, 8 months had changed dramatically. We
Mm.
were, for example, our work was mostly in the States, and the States with Canada, let's talk about the
Mm.
tariffs and stuff, like all of that upended and it's keep on changing, right? So the world, chaos is not ideal, but the world is chaotic because there is no real trajectory for where the world is going. It's organic, it's chaotic. So I would say confronting chaos is that it's set so that you don't pretend there is no chaos. Because a lot of times we say, no, everything is right in place, or we pretend that things will happen right in place. Oh, when this thing happened, I will do this. When that thing happened, I will be ready. And that never happens. So confronting chaos is like, no, I have no control over those things. What are the things that really matters to me that I want to happen right now? And what are the things I have power over? Let me start with those right now, instead of waiting for certain things to come in play. I call it the someday symptom. Someday, when this thing happens, when that happens, I'll be ready. That's what I mean. Is like, don't fall into that trap. Confront chaos right now and just deal with it. And you will be far more positioned to move forward and to achieve what you want to achieve.
So I have time for two more questions. My next question is, which personal story in your book is most important to you and why?
Ooh, I would say the moment I discovered what truly matters to me. I was this person that is very driven. I had this vision board, and I wanted to climb Mount Everest. I wanted to talk on the TED stage and all of that. And then I asked myself that question. I think I read it for Brian Tracy. I credit him. He's one of my favorite people to read for. And I asked myself, what is the one thing that if I don't have right now, nothing else matters? He has those things that ask you, and it's deep. It's like, okay, so what is the one thing if I don't have right now, nothing else matters? Like, even if I achieve all of that, and it rang so big in my head. It's like a happy, healthy family now. It wasn't tomorrow. It wasn't like, next week. It's now. So that anchored me with what matters most. And once I felt that I had what matters most, and I paid attention to it, it gave me, I don't know how to explain it, but it gave me power to take on the world, because I was no longer pursuing things that other people have. I had the thing, or at least I worked at it. I started to dedicate more time, because at that time I spent most of my time working. My wife would tell me that all the time. It's like, you're always working. I said, yeah, because I will achieve those things and then we will be very happy. But then when I did that, I had so much great time with my kids, with my wife, and I had so much energy that I brought it to the world. And whatever happened in the world didn't matter anymore. Don't get me wrong. I wanted success and I wanted to achieve those things. But the impact of those things on my life reduced. And as long as the most important thing I have a handle on, or I'm in touch with.
Very interesting. And my last question for you, Hussein, what do you hope your readers will take away from your book?
I hope my readers will take the book and it will influence them to first let go of control, deal with the uncertainty of life, become better at making choices, which means make more choices all the time, and to live a life of joy, because joy is really what we should be after. Happiness is a fleeting thing. Joy is far more lasting. Joy is, you can have joy while training and you're sweating and every muscle is in pain. You're in joy. You see players, tough and hard, and they're enjoying that playing. So joy is a far more I would say, thing that you can enjoy for so much longer. It's a feeling that fulfills you, and it's a feeling you can get from the things you do in life, and from if you make the choices like that. So that's what I wish for them, and I think the book can open up those possibilities for them, because it brings that it's built in a way that you can always refer to it. You can at any time open it, and you read something and it opens up something for you. So I'm wishing that for them. Thanks for the question.
Wow. But on that note, Hussein, I just want to say what a fabulous conversation this has been. Thank you for sharing with me about your own journey and all the wonderful things that you've done as a professional and as an entrepreneur. Thank you also for speaking to me about your book, The Dark Art of Life Mastery. I think a lot of your thoughts are tremendous pieces of knowledge and information for me, my viewers, and my listeners. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast. For platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.